American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Yes, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is having a campus walk in Laramie, Wyoming here on May 3rd, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Show up if you can. If you can't, make sure that you donate.
American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Link in our bio. There's a Not My Weekend team raising money. The campus walk is on May 3rd in Laramie, Wyoming, if you're able to attend. And also, get tickets to see us on tour May 27th through June 1st, opening up for Forever Came Calling and Calling All Captains. We're direct support on that first show on May 27th, and then we are one of 3 at all the other shows. So get there early. Show up to see us. We're practicing a lot. It's gonna be a really fun time. It's gonna be a really fun tour. But Sam's here.
Hello, it's me.
Sam, on the Tour Declassified Tour Survival Guide tour, which is still not what it's called.
That is what. That's what it's called.
You were there. You were present.
I was.
You sold merch along with our friend Austin
on for
Wiseman.
the road.
The first show was Detroit, Michigan.
Oh no, I know what this is about.
I don't. So we were on the phone with Noah, and Noah informed me that we got a hotel in Detroit before the first show.
We did. We rolled into Detroit that night and went out to eat and had a good time. and then the next night was the first show in Detroit.
I was told, so Noah told me that me and Ed went to the hotel room because we weren't trying to party.
Correct.
And that Noah, Austin, and Nick lost you?
I was on my own for a while. Yes, I was.
Can you tell us what happened?
We had drank quite a bit, and then so it's blurry for sure.
Right.
I remember finding myself alone in downtown Detroit. Without knowing where I was or what was going on. I had somehow separated myself from the group, and later I think I just happened to stumble back into them. And then
That's basically how we remembered it.
yeah, and then woke up in the hotel room the next morning.
Okay. Are you a? I've seen you drunk before. You don't give me runner vibes.
No, I usually don't. I think
We just got separated, right?
yeah, I don't think it was a runner type situation. I think it was that I just happened to get separated
Okay.
somehow.
All right.
I remembered like there were a few minutes where I was kind of scared because I think my phone was dead
Mhm.
Right.
and I had never been to Detroit before,
Right.
and I didn't know where I was or where anyone was, or I didn't quite have my wits about me, if you could imagine.
I'm very glad they found you.
Yeah, I mean that would have been one hell of a start to the tour.
I would
wouldn't
say
it?
I would say Austin and Noah were bad influences on that tour, and then it was just y'all and Nick.
I'm certainly to blame a little
Okay,
bit.
all right.
I'm not
For my own disappearance.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one can really remember the details, so who knows?
No, yeah, there was. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I don't have a whole lot to add.
Do you have any other significant memories from that tour? We talked about the river trip.
I was gonna bring up the river trip. Did you guys mention that I almost drowned?
That's the other
That
thing.
was- yeah,
Is that
yeah.
is that I also didn't remember this. Is that you almost drowned and were in like a sticky spot, but you had your jewel?
Yes, I saved the jewel. We were tubing on a river outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I was on my tube, and I remember Noah and Austin were behind us, and they had gotten separated from the group a little bit.
They were kind of doing their own thing.
They were, but I wanted to be with them. And then there was a tree, and I tried to grab onto the tree to stop myself so that I could let them catch up, not realizing that the water was really flowing, and it flipped me over. The water took me over, like I was holding onto the tree, and I got flipped over. I had my beer in one hand and my jewel in the other. And I lost the beer, but I kept the jewel. The jewel did not get wet at all. And then I was, I'm not a great swimmer.
Right.
The water was flowing. I was nowhere near being able to touch the bottom.
Got it.
And I was pretty scared.
Okay.
I didn't let anyone else know that because I didn't want to like ruin the good time.
Okay.
But I was actually pretty scared for about 5 minutes there.
Do you think you were underwater for 5 minutes?
No, I wasn't underwater, but like I was trying to tread water.
Where'd the tube go?
Oh, the tube just kept flowing.
Oh,
because
it's just
it
gone.
knocked me off. I went underwater, and then emerged with like no vessel to rest on.
Right. No vessel to speak of.
Yeah, there was. And so I was getting very tired. The water was flowing. The river was wide and deep.
It was.
And I was in the very middle of it without a paddle, as they say.
Okay, true. And all that. So I also didn't see this. So it's Noah telling me this story because he can see you from the back.
Yes.
Like go under with just the
The
jewel
arm,
above.
the right arm holding said jewel stayed above water.
Is that beer can just in that river?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately,
right,
it is.
right.
It is.
That was a good trip, though. 10 out of 10 would do
Oh,
that.
that was
tubing
awesome.
again.
And then I remember after the river excursion was over, my favorite part of the tour was that swimming pool at the end of like back where we first started the tubing. Do you remember that?
No.
Where we started the tubes, and then we floated, and then a bus took us back to where we rented the tubes,
Yeah.
and then there was a swimming pool. And like all of us, including the happy guys,
that we were able to.
we went swimming,
Damn.
and it was really fun.
Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Maybe there was a cool pool. It was an outside pool as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we just got right into the chlorine.
Yeah,
about
we
it.
got it. It was like a nice, cool pool on a really hot
It's
day.
like
and
$10 a person to do that too.
yeah, it was great. It was
Yeah.
great value.
Yeah, good times. Good
Yeah,
times.
and then and also like I saved the jewel, so that was saved money.
Did we have a tube that was specific for the beer? Was there one tube like beer dedicated? Would have been smart.
Maybe that would have been smart. I know. There were a lot of beers. I think maybe it was like a BYOB. We all had our own, just on our own.
Oh, just individual
on our
beers
own-
on your.
on our own tube.
Mm-hmm. I remember we were debating for a long time whether or not to wear shoes into that river because like none of us had water shoes.
Right.
We all had like the one shoes that we brought for tour, and it was like no, we're like there's no need to get our shoes all wet and ruined when we have shows in front of us. And then the rocks at the bottom were like glass.
Yeah, no, it definitely hurt to stand when
Yeah,
we first got into the water.
And then like I kept trying to I wanted to touch the bottom and I wanted to like guide myself through the river. So I kept trying to convince myself that I would get used to it, but I think it just hurt and sucked the whole time.
Yeah, that's rivers. That's
Yeah, rivers are scary.
they hurt and they suck.
Yeah, nice. The you getting lost story and the jewel story was what I was looking for.
Okay,
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean, I'm sorry I can't provide
Yeah, well,
more
I
context
guess
about the
I guess
Detroit.
it wouldn't have. I guess it wouldn't have happened if you
right.
could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those I definitely had I drank too much that night, and there were bits and pieces that are there. I was in the bright lights of the city, and I remember just wandering around desperately trying to find our group with no phone, and I'm sure they were also really trying to find me, but at that time it felt like they weren't, and
Right.
it was hopeless.
Yeah, I see. And Ed and I were sound asleep.
Yeah, you guys had no idea.
Without putting you on the spot too much, can you remember anything else from that tour?
Let me look at
Yeah,
the
you got all
dates,
the
if
dates.
anything stands out. In Scranton, Pennsylvania was my birthday.
Oh,
That was the night that
No.
that Happy's RV broke down.
Yeah, and we had the worst show ever.
That day sucked.
I forgot that was your birthday.
That day sucked, and it was my birthday.
I We didn't talk. We talked about this when we talked about this last week. We specifically didn't talk about Scranton
'Cause it sucked.
Because all we had to say was it was just so bad. I just don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I completely spaced. It was also your fucking
Yeah,
birthday.
it was my birthday, and it really sucked. But it was we made do. I remember after the show, us and a few of the guys from Happy went out, and because that was early in the tour, that was only the third day of the tour,
Yeah.
and I hadn't really gotten to know those guys that well. We went out to a bar and had some drinks for my birthday, and I got to know those guys a lot more that night.
That's what Noah said, is that it was the first time that we bonded with
It
them,
was.
really.
It
and
was.
we also physically helped them fix their RV.
Yeah, we had to get out of there in the morning, and we got it done and made it to Philly.
Yeah, we put a belt on the
Yeah.
I cannot, if you're in a band, do not get an RV.
No,
Just
that's
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You just got to get a van or rent a vehicle if you're able to afford one. But just a van is the only vehicle that's time tested for getting you from city to city.
Mm-hmm.
You were on the next tour with us, weren't you? In spring break. That
Which one was that?
it was called The Next Tour. Just our spring break earlier that year. Was you?
I think that was the first time I had gone on the road with you guys.
Yeah, because you weren't on the yellow one. That was just the four
Right.
of us.
That was like mostly West Coast, wasn't it? The
Yeah.
next tour.
Yeah, it was.
That was because I remember the one that sticks out for me there was the show at Program, the skate shop.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, because I mean that was like my first time being on a tour,
And that was the better time that we played
Mhm.
Program because we were playing the EP by then.
yeah.
Yeah.
That one was fun. Yeah, I always like being in the van with the boys, and
It was cool to be out in Fullerton too. I mean, that was like only the second time we had been to California.
yeah,
At that time, and it was weird because we just went to Program Skate and Sound and left, which is funny to think about now that we live here. That we would drive into Fullerton and turn around and leave California.
right,
is
yeah,
silly.
yeah. We had a couple of friends that just happened to be there. Robin was there, I think, and Robin and Taryn.
Robin
I think,
and
were both
Taryn
there.
did come. Yes, yeah, and our friend Lake, who
Yes,
was
Lake.
a fan of
yeah,
the band.
great friend.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. I don't remember. Was that the one where after that we ended up in Montana, and we saw the ghost horse?
Oh my God. It sure was. We didn't talk about Ghost Horse on this podcast.
Both of you saw the ghost horse, right?
I saw the ghost
I
horse.
saw the Ghost Horse.
I didn't. So
I woke up to the Ghost Horse. You were asleep for the Ghost Horse?
I didn't see it. I just heard about it later.
All right. We'll trust.
I think Noah was driving. I was sitting right where Patrick is sitting now, and scary times.
I was shotgun? I think I was shotgun keeping Noah awake.
I believe so.
And Ed was asleep and Nick was asleep.
Yeah.
I think Ed woke up to the Ghost Horse. I think everyone saw it but Nick.
Yeah. It was. Have you mentioned the ghost horse?
No,
before?
not at all. We completely skipped
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, do you want?
Yes, please.
We were in. You guys had played a show somewhere in Montana. It was the last show of the tour,
This is a difficult thing for Sam, who loves horses and does not like ghosts.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah. One thing about me, horses are the greatest of God's creatures,
Yes.
and ghosts are something that I would like to not talk about. You guys had played a show in Montana. I can't remember which city in Montana. And then that was the last show, so we were driving back to Laramie. There was a problem with the main interstate had been closed due to flooding or something,
Mm-hmm.
and so we had to take back roads through rural Montana and northern Wyoming.
Yep.
And
I
we were in some tiny little town, and Noah was driving, and just mere inches from the driver's side of the van, there was a horse, a bright white horse,
Bright white horse.
just running through the city at 2 a.m. In a completely empty town of no more than 200 people.
I don't. It felt like there was no one there.
Yeah, it was abandoned.
Yeah.
It felt like, and there was this white horse, and maybe now because we call it the ghost horse, I'm gonna mix up the details, but I believe that the horse disappeared, or is that what?
I believe that the horse had stopped in front of us, and that we had to bring the van to a full stop.
Yes, I think Noah slammed on the brakes.
So the horse was moving, and then moved to in front of us in the road, and Noah came to not a slam, but an abrupt, because we were already driving 40 miles an hour because we're going through backcountry towns to get home. And we came to a pretty abrupt stop, and Noah says the words "ghost horse," and the horse is in front of us, and then it walks off, and then we turn around, and it's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, and then a few hours later, we had to stop for gas, and when we stopped for gas, there were white hairs from the horse's mane in the antenna of the van.
Yeah. Yes.
Remnants of said ghost horse.
It was the horse was the brightest thing in the town.
It was illuminated.
It was illuminated, so it was weird when we turned around and couldn't see it, because it would have been so much whiter than everything else. It was like a bright light of a horse.
There was something supernatural about that horse, for sure.
that haunted us on our drive from Montana back to Wyoming.
It could have been Shadowfax, Lord of all horses, actually.
And you'll have to, and that's from
Lord of the Rings.
Nick's reading Lord of the Rings right now. Does Shadowfax, Lord of all horses, have like sentience?
I haven't gotten that far.
Okay, all right. I'm currently reading Lord of the Rings. It's happening now. All right, nice. That's good stuff.
Hell yeah.
I'll probably have you back on to talk about Tour Story and more things that
for sure.
that were tour related to you hanging out with us. Do you want to play 10 questions before, or 10 questions, 20 questions before you go?
Yeah,
Like you think of a famous person, and Nick and I will try and guess it.
Okay.
Do we like switch off, you and me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's 20 total questions between
20
the two of you?
total questions between the two of us, and you're thinking of a famous person.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, I go first. Is this person living?
Yes.
Well, that gets rid of my question. Are they a boy?
Yes.
Living boy.
It's the boy who lived.
the boy who lived. It's Harry Potter. Okay, no, it's not. That's not my guess. Whoa.
That's
Cool your jets. Is this person famous?
yes.
Okay. We know that. Not necessarily. He could be thinking of anybody.
No,
That was like the
necessarily.
main
That was a
stipulation.
prerequisite of the game.
Oh, so then that shouldn't count then? Or no, I wasn't paying attention. It does count?
Dude, yeah, that burns it. Yes, that's question
Yeah,
three.
you don't get to.
Burned a
That's your own
question.
fault.
God damn.
My bad.
Is this person a musician?
No.
Is it an actor?
No.
Would you consider them internet famous?
No.
Okay.
Not a musician, not an actor, not internet famous. Are they a host of something?
No.
Has this person done a crime?
No. There there was a big news story last year, but it wasn't his fault. Allegedly.
All right.
Is this an athlete?
Yes.
Is it Shohei Ohtani?
It is.
All right.
I gave that one away,
Yeah,
but
you didn't have to give me all that information.
it wasn't his fault. It
word,
was
yeah.
Ipe's fault.
Is there not still some debate about that?
Yeah, there is.
What's the likelihood that Ipe would take the fall for him if it was Shohei's fault? Because is it not highly likely that Ipe would take the fall for him if it was Shohei's fault?
Yes, but I think I like to believe that Shohei Ohtani is like the purest guy of all time.
Right. Well, that puts you and all sports fans in a tricky position, does it not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it puts him in a tricky situation. Like either way, it's bad news for him.
Yeah. I feel bad. Will Ipe serve time?
I think so.
Damn.
Yeah.
That sucks. Did Shohei lose out on his money, or does it still, like, his personal money, his personal finances, are they fucked?
I mean, they're not fucked, but like, he's
but-
making so much money that it doesn't.
Right,
it's a drop in the-
but there were millions of dollars that are like gone from him.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Who do you have winning the World Series this year?
I mean, it's early.
I know that's why I'm making you guess now.
The Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers are great. I mean, the Phillies are good. Prediction will be Dodgers versus Red Sox.
Dodgers
We're
versus
going out on a limb and saying the Red Sox.
Dodgers versus the Red Sox?
Yeah.
With the Red Sox taking it?
I think the Dodgers will probably win again.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Well, thank you, Sam. We're gonna
Yeah. Thank
finish
you.
this out.
Enjoy the rest of the podcast.
We will.
Good luck.
Thanks for joining us.
That's Sam Marcus.
Not my weekend forever.
You'll see him again sometime soon. I'm positive.
I'll be back. I just live upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're practicing later this week. You're
Yeah.
going to Wyoming. We watched WrestleMania yesterday.
We did.
What was your experience? You watched more WrestleMania than I
It's not
did.
really my thing.
Yes.
I don't want to hate on people who like WrestleMania.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't feel like that's productive, but I
But
don't
I
really
hate but
get
I
it.
hate you.
No, I don't hate them. I get it, or I don't get it. That's what I mean to say. I don't get it. I just don't.
I get that I get that I don't get it.
I don't understand the appeal of WrestleMania, even when it's explained to me.
I just don't. So, just like in the same way that you get excited while we're watching twists and turns throughout Severance or Game of Thrones, that's the same feeling that they are getting whilst watching twists and turns throughout WrestleMania.
yeah,
or
I
wrestling
get
in
that.
general.
I just don't also experience that.
I just wonder what's holding you back. Like I got sucked in for sure. Like I totally understood that there were betrayals and whatnot that happened yesterday while we were watching
Well,
WrestleMania.
That could be one of the main things, is that I'm not really all that clued into
Plugged
the
in.
history of the WWE and all the narratives.
Yeah, because
and it goes back decades.
well, even less than just decades. Like WrestleMania is like the season finale to the past year of storytelling, right?
Mhm.
So it's
Which
everything.
I haven't been
Right.
watching.
Right. So it's everything that's happened in the past year leading up to whatever they did yesterday. You know what I mean? You were saying it was partially like that the violence didn't sell it for you, right? 'Cause
Well, yeah, and I don't really blame them for that. Like, I don't wish they were actually up there,
actually hurting
like
themselves.
hurting each other,
Yeah.
or anything.
You do have to just totally buy in to that as part of the fun and as part of the story that they are hurt when they are not. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like-
and also it's worth saying that they totally can get hurt doing what they're doing, and it happens all the time.
Yeah, the stunt performing that is involved in wrestling is out of this world. It's top tier. It is the highest level of stunt performing you can do.
I think it's pretty impressive, and sometimes they cut the camera at just the right moment, so you can't really tell that like someone didn't really make contact
yeah.
when they
It's-
were hitting somebody.
Yeah, it's just the difference between getting fully punched in the dome 100 times, like when you're in MMA or something like that. You know what I mean?
I think there's also like a like a more insidious thing to it that's hard to describe, like how you're not supposed to talk about kayfabe. You know,
Oh,
you're never supposed to drop the illusion
yeah. You don't like
in wrestling.
it. Like rubs you the wrong way that there's like
they won't. They kind of acknowledge that it's not actually a competition, like an athletic competition between these people, but the whole idea is that it's supposed to be,
yeah
and that's always just like in
part of it.
dissonance.
Well, I think the most what am I trying to say? The most wholesome way of viewing that is that it's like to maintain the allure, the mysticism, especially like for young kids. But
And
then
like everything in entertainment pretty much is an illusion of some kind, for sure.
Uh-huh.
But there's just something about the way that pro wrestling works. I can't buy into it.
But then
like even if I bought the narrative, I wouldn't buy into the violence that's happening just because it doesn't feel real to me.
But then
And
on the flip side of that, in like the very, very negative way, you could say that like not being able to talk about kayfabe and stuff is like a long-standing manipulation tactic to keep the wrestlers, underpaid and mistreated. But that's like from like years of corruption within the WWE that's been brought to light like in the last 3 or 4 years via their ex CEOs and whatnot. You know what I mean? Wrestling is such carnival culture. There's like
carnival culture.
There's like
sure.
there's like an inherently scammy thing about it that I think you might still be feeling, and it's
Yeah, that's probably a decent amount of what puts me off about wrestling,
Which is
it feels scammy. And I think I also can connect like the elements of wrestling that like Donald Trump came up in,
Yeah.
for example. His whole rise to stardom is pretty connected with the world of wrestling, for better or for worse. I'm not like the person to dissect that and parse it and make sense of it, but
You could, though. You could try.
I mean, I could try. I would have to know more details than I do right now.
I'm saying, why does that bum you out, though? Just from what you do know right now.
It is complicated. I guess if I'm trying to distill it, it's like a bread and circus thing
Okay.
in a way, like more so than even football, I feel, because football is an actual competition, right? And it's more so than like a blockbuster movie as well, because that's purely entertainment and everyone knows it's fictitious.
Okay.
But like there's a whole thing in wrestling culture where it's like if you say that it's fake, then people will react negatively to that, you know? Like you're not allowed to acknowledge that it's not genuine, and I feel like that like sort of insincerity or that disconnect from reality might have been sort of a beginning point for someone to drive in a stake that has kind of fucked up our national consciousness in some ways. That's how I'm connecting it to like the Trump movement, you know?
Oh, that's so curious to me. That's so interesting. But you can't give the vast majority of that to pro wrestling, though.
No,
or you are.
No, I'm just saying that like there's something
There's
happening
something there. There's
And
something
I'm not,
there.
Again, I'm not the person to, especially just freewheeling, thinking out loud.
You don't.
Like,
You don't let. Yeah, that's. But no. But I know. But freewheeling, thinking out loud is what a podcast is for. Just being totally blasphemous on mic. You're.
Right.
Yeah, there's like a dishonesty about it that trips you up.
I guess
it's
that's
all-
part of it. Yeah,
it-
I could keep talking about all these different parts of it, but
It's
that's one of them.
It's also like not the case as much anymore. I think like in modern day wrestling, they'll just like they'll get on podcast and they'll talk about the ins and outs of what's really going on in there. Like way more in the last
And
last
they'll
5 to 10
publish
years.
tell-alls of
Absolutely.
everything that goes on behind the scenes, and
like that's its own market now too. You know.
like to a certain extent, if there's like a 5-year-old or like a 7-year-old out there who thinks that it's real,
Yeah.
like they probably might also think that Star Wars is real and Narnia is real. And,
Interesting.
like
You ever?
it's complicated.
You ever
It's
think-
also complicated, Pat.
It's not that crazy. It's not. It's nothing to fret about. It's
Oh,
nothing.
I'm
it's
terribly worried.
It's nothing to cause you woe. It is
I'm in a tizzy.
There is no need to be in any sort of tizzy. It is none for thee. It is. No, it's totally fine. No, there's no need to get your wares in a bunch.
My wares are in order. Thank you much.
All right, good. That's good. That's good. The no, I think that I you know when I think about that a lot. Like I had such a you'll have to tell me, but I had such a belief that Santa Claus was real, but I never had
Oh, I didn't.
ever.
I had always suspected that Santa Claus was fanciful.
The entire
Because-
time?
Because it was written with contradictions.
Oh my god.
People would tell me things like, people can't fly. Like, magic isn't real.
Dude.
And they'd be like, when they would tell me these things, they'd be like, you're an idiot for even thinking that, like, for entertaining the possibility that magic could be real. You are an actual gullible doofus.
Oh my god. You're just
That got nailed into me at a very young age for whatever reason.
right. You're just a 40-year-old 5-year-old.
Because I was a 5-year-old who was like, yeah, maybe magic is real. And someone was like, you loser, you idiot. No.
I just like I had such a strong belief that there was Santa Claus, but I never like had a misconception that like Star Wars or Harry Potter or any of the shows that I watch were real. I was like, those are fake. Those are movies and shows that are fun. But there was no doubt in my mind that Santa Claus was real. So it's like
I suspected that Santa Claus was probably not real, but I had hope that maybe he could be. And I'll still say, like, I can't prove that he's not.
what do you mean? Yeah, you can. What do you?
I don't think I can prove that he doesn't give gifts to everyone every Christmas.
Okay. All right. Valid. I hear what you're saying. I
But,
hear what
like,
you're saying.
In some dimension of reality, there might be something that's really
You are-
similar to Santa
you are
Claus.
the most.
You know?
It is so. It's holy shit. Dude, keeping up with your like type of cynicism and also like political covering your bases where you're like, I never believed in Santa Claus, but let the record show right now at almost 30, there might be Santa. I want to legally say this.
I wanted to believe in Santa Claus
Right.
for a long time. I'm just saying Santa Claus is unfalsifiable.
It's just so funny to say that, like, oh, it made me so sad. I could never really believe. But even right now, like I cannot say to this day, there's nothing.
I mean,
It's just
you have no Christmas spirit if you're saying that's
You-
absolutely
what-
impossible.
No, dude, there's. You
You ever
started.
seen a Christmas movie?
You started this with no Christmas. When we started the conversation, I believed you had the least Christmas spirit of anyone that had ever been alive. Just
Oh.
for you to right now say there might be a Santa Claus.
You wound me.
I
I have lots of Christmas spirit. It's
Uh,
sort of secular in its general color, but just because you're secular doesn't mean you can't dig Christ.
I think that
Like, you ever heard of Gandhi? He was kind of cool, right?
yeah.
Similar situation.
Similar situation. I think that was kind of. I think that was a lot of my experience with it is that I believed in God, and I fully believed that Santa Claus was connected to God. It wasn't.
And that doesn't. The more that you pick that apart, the less sense that makes. And that was part of the unraveling for me as a young child, being like, because I was really trying to square my perception of the world with like what I was learning in Sunday school, and it wasn't working.
It all happened so quick too, because I was like 8 and 9 years old, like fully bought in on Santa Claus and God, and then by like 12 and 13, I was fully like I think I was just like early teenager, like telling my parents I'm like an atheist or whatever. Like
Right.
I
I think
you
that
even
actually
know.
that happens for a lot of kids when they find out that Santa isn't real. They're like
Yeah.
they extrapolate.
I kind of did. I
Right.
was kind of like, well, actually, fuck the lot of it then. What the fuck are you that whole
Because
shit?
everyone was willing to lie to you about Santa.
Right.
Everybody was
everyone
willing.
everyone on the planet.
And if someone were to tell you the truth about Santa when you were like 8 or 9 and you started crying, everyone would say that person was the worst
yeah.
for like telling you the truth that Santa isn't real.
Yeah.
Because we all want you to have your wonder, and
Yeah, it's brutal.
you could say those are different, but there's some similarities.
Yeah. It's
I think you can go a lot deeper with like theology and the meaning of existence than with like being a kid being like, I like Santa and want presents type of thing.
type beat. Well, you know what I used to do is I used to pray to Santa for presents without telling my parents I was doing that.
Or God.
Well, sure.
Yeah, you were trying to bypass God, go straight to Santa.
Yeah. But that was the fucked up thing is I would think that by telling my parents I would be jinxing receiving it.
Well, you were also testing Santa, and in doing so, you were expressing like a lack of faith.
Yes.
And that already had doomed you. So whatever you had wished for, whatever the gift it was you wanted, you were doomed to never receive it.
I was doomed to never receive it, and it also kind of proved the existence it proved that level of the existence by never receiving that. I'd low-key be confused. I'd be like, I asked for this one the most, having never told my parents that it's what I wanted.
But you thought that Santa was real.
I know.
And Santa was a magical guy who could hear your thoughts
I
and
know.
see you when you're sleeping.
Holy shit. All right. If you could, before we go, if you could, any fictional singular person, let's say they got to be human, a singular human who is fictional, not real, who you could plop into the real world, our current right now existence. For you, who do you think that would be? And we'll both give an answer. And that is a tough one because you got to think about like it's
I have to think about every fiction that I've ever encountered.
It's like you're not giving yourself superpowers, and we're talking about like a one person. So like, how are they going to affect the
and what
the
like
world
Superman
at large?
wouldn't count. He's not a person, right? He's an alien.
I'll give you humanoid.
Oh, humanoid.
I'll give you humanoid because I want Superman to count. I'll give you humanoid. I like Martian Manhunter would count from the Justice League because that's a humanoid character.
Okay.
I'll give you humanoid. Good distinction though.
Well, the cynical thing to do, and I don't want to even say this on tape because it's so dang blasphemous to say on Easter.
All right. Happy Easter, by the way. We're recording this on Easter. It's the following Thursday, but you know.
I apologize in advance. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven, and et cetera,
and the rest.
Et cetera.
Yeah.
The historicity of Jesus is up for some debate. Most scholars agree that Jesus was a person who existed and was not fictional.
Right. Yes.
But
most people
the
do
accounts of Jesus in the Bible, the historicity of those, I think, is a little bit foggy.
Yeah.
So like it's sort of saying like the account of Jesus in the Bible is like based on a real guy.
Uh-huh.
But what we know about the guy that it was based on is very little. There isn't a ton of historical evidence about the person of Jesus.
Right. But that would be the guy you'd bring
if Jesus were fictional, which I'm not saying that he is.
on Easter.
For sure. Yeah, Jesus should come back on Easter and that would be good, right?
Why would that be the guy?
Jesus was cool. He was all about good stuff. He was like friendly.
You're gonna make it seem like we're like normal ass Christian by me posing this question to you, and you for real like instead of Superman.
I'm insinuating he's fictional. If someone were like actually Christian, they would be incensed at the notion that Jesus might not have been a real guy.
Yeah, words.
It's an intensely blasphemous notion.
All right, well, agreeing with most scholars.
Okay, so cut all that out.
No, I'm
Don't include any of that.
I'm definitely leaving it.
Don't include any of that. My grandpa is going to be so disappointed.
I'm for sure leaving that. Okay, so cut all that.
Yeah, that doesn't make it in. I'm not going to edit this, but I'm telling you right now, that's not going to make the cut.
Got it. Sounds good.
I'm going to come up with a better fictional character.
Mm-hmm.
Superman.
Right, as previously stated. You know, it's just like
he's a really capable guy.
He would do
a lot of good.
He'd probably do like a lot of net good. You got to wonder how the general society would respond to that. Would we respond to it in like a really dark Zack Snyder kind of way, where everyone's doing all these false god things and doing more terrorist acts because Superman exists? You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, come to think of it, that might not end well.
I know.
Introducing someone like Superman, it would be such a threat to the powers that be.
Absolutely, they might fuck. They
would
shit.
They would coalesce. They would team up and form like an order of evil.
And like America would try and like make Superman theirs. They'd like a weapon of America. So you have to go like you know and.
Well, I don't know if they would like attempt to control Superman through whatever means were available to them.
Yeah.
And probably resort to force. I don't think it would end well. I feel like Superman would have to destroy us. He would be faced with either allowing us to destroy him or being forced to fight against us because we couldn't tolerate someone with that much power.
All right. So Nick's answer for bringing a fictional person to life is that Superman comes here and destroys us.
No, it doesn't work. I'm just trying to think this through. You've asked me a difficult question. Like, maybe I need to think of someone who's a really persuasive orator.
Yeah.
Who could be like a politician.
Uh-huh.
Who could steer the ship in the right direction.
Yeah. I think. I mean, I'm just on a kick right now, but I think my answer would currently be Monkey D. Luffy.
Monkey D. Luffy, yeah, he's got a very good heart.
He's just
His
got a
heart
deeply
is in the
good
right
heart,
place,
and he's not strong enough to. Well, he probably becomes.
He could cause a
strong
lot
enough.
of problems.
He could
if he turned evil.
it just would never. It would just never.
His heart's too good. That's
And
his
also-
main thing.
And also, he wouldn't be like vying for fame. Like Superman would be known the world over. You know,
Mhm.
Luffy would definitely make waves eventually, but purely through like his own adventures as he sees fit.
Right, and maybe because of his superpowers,
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
his
yeah.
stretchy superpowers.
Among
Uh,
being stretchy.
Gandalf came to mind because
Gandalf,
I am reading
Read
Lord of the Rings.
That's
right
valid.
now.
That's valid. Gandalf, I think, would probably be an easier solve than Superman.
Yeah, originally, you said human, and he wouldn't have counted.
Humanoid.
But
Humanoid's
if,
fine.
If humanoid, then yeah,
I think Gandalf would.
he's a really good guy. In a lot of ways, he's a lot like Jesus and Superman.
yeah. Like kind of a combination of the two.
Yeah, these are the types of fictional characters that I would like to see more of in the real world. Although any of them could be real.
Yeah.
There might actually be Gandalf Greyheim. I'm not willing to rule it out.
I know you're not. Any of them could be real.
I don't think it's likely.
All right. And with that, we thank you for tuning into another episode of the Not My Weekend podcast. This one went well. You got some Sam time, and it was kind of loose flowing in terms of subject. We need more of those if we're going to fill this space.
Yeah, we can't keep talking about things that we did as Not My Weekend because there's only so much of that.
Well, we're not even like a fourth of the way through my doc.
Right. No, I mean, we could
But
keep going for a while, for sure.
Theoretically, what would happen is that we'd get like our busyness and our success would perpetuate the podcast.
Oh, it could be perpetude.
It could be perpetued. The podcast could by the time we're catching up with the things we've done in the past, we've got so much new stuff, and it's like we'll squeeze like 3 episodes out of the 6 shows we're about to do, and we'll squeeze a couple guest episodes out of that. So then that's like 5 weeks of podcasting about stuff going on with us right now.
Yeah,
right?
and that's probably even better than trying to remember something that happened 8 years ago.
Much better.
In some ways.
Much better, right? Much better, yes. And then you do a throwback about an old thing about the origins of our band, and then you do, like when we're on tour, you do a podcast every week of whatever happened that week on tour. And then you do...
Oh, yeah. When we're on tour, it's easy.
Easy. All right. Appreciate you guys. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow our personal pages. Watch The Meantime. Come see us on tour, opening up for Forever Came Calling and Calling All Captains, May 27th through June 1st. Donate to our team for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention via the University of Wyoming Walk at the link below and at the links in our bio and the link on our Twitter. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.